Hi there. So I wanted to discuss attracting your other half versus attracting the mirror of your wholeness. These twin flame relationships are not 3D relationships. I've said that before, but it's like in 3D in the 3D relationship paradigm, we've been really conditioned with attracting your other half and your better half and stuff, but that's actually codependent relating. That's not autonomous, sovereign, detached, empowered relationship, sacred partnership. It's a codependent partnership where this person is the other half of me and I'm not whole by myself. And I think when we're still in that paradigm, or when part of us is still sort of resonating with the 3D, we attract in that, or when we're not integrated within ourselves, we do this dance of attracting our other half. And this video is actually coming partly out of observation and a discussion with one of my female soul connections. She was with her ex and like last year, and I think that he was sort of her other half on one side, and now it's like she's dating / seeing someone else, and it's almost like she's flipped sides. So it's like she's in her ex's shoes now with this guy who is like her, or the version of her that was with her ex. So it's like she's just flipped sides, but she's still dealing with her other half. Do you know what I mean? She's not actually dealing with her whole other, or the mirror of her wholeness yet. She's sort of jumping between sort of being the feminine and dating the masculine other half in 3D, or being the masculine and dating the feminine other half in 3D. But what we're actually supposed to be doing, in my opinion, is being whole within ourselves and integrated with both sides in ourselves, and then with the masculine or feminine other. So in a way, the mirror to your wholeness is like the masculine to your feminine, or the feminine to your masculine, but it's in wholeness rather than in halfness. Does that make sense? It's not your other half anymore. It's the mirror to your wholeness. It's a higher level version of other half, where the person doesn't complete you as such and more complements you. Like they are skilled in like areas that you're not, for example, or they might be more 3D in the way that they express things, and you might be more sort of up there in the sort of woo-woo conversation, and so they sort of bring that balance to you of the other side, where they can sort of communicate things in a different way, or they can somehow add value to your skill set rather than sort of fill the void, if you like. Like it sounds contradictory, because in a way that they do fill the void. So it's like it's hard to talk about this, because I find myself sort of agreeing that they do fill the void, but it's on a higher level. It's like they are like they bring a complementary skill set or a complementary energy to you, rather than bring your missing pieces in the sense of that you are not whole without them, or that you're not able to function without them. Does that make sense? So yeah, like we have to unify the self first to be able to attract the other whole. And that's about becoming higher self-embodied again. It's about getting your spirit grounded into the physical vessel. Because that's another thing that happens when you're doing this dance with the other half. That's where there's this sort of draining or thing, like the energy feels a bit off with them, or you feel like, yeah, like you need to recover from having spending time with them, or having been sort of physically engaging, like sexually engaging with them. You feel like you need to replenish your energy when you're dealing with your other half, because like how it should be is like, if you imagine, it's like both of your energy fields need to be whole, and then the merging sort of happens in that sort of third energy space, rather than you taking something from each other and draining each other. It's like that diagram where you have the two whole circles and then they overlap in the middle, and you have this like Vesica Pisces in the middle. It's like in that space that there's this like dance of energy and like merging of energy, where it creates this sort of third energy, rather than pulling directly from each other. You know, like if you're connecting with someone and you're not whole, then you're pulling something from them to fill your void. Which is actually, on a side note, actually making me realise why the person that I originally identified has resisted physically engaging with me in like a sexual sense. It's because of this. Because I would have drained the fuck out of him where I was at a few years ago. Because I didn't have connection. And in fact, even by extension, I might have even sort of killed that part of him in a way. I might have even like stripped him of something, because I basically wasn't connected to my inner masculine back then. I was like only in one side of myself. So even without intending this, I would have pulled that other half out of him, rather than sort of adding value to his experience, or being able to give energy to him. I would have taken energy from him because of the void within myself. So yeah, these are like 5D embodied relationships, and you need to come into that wholeness within yourself so that you can then engage with the other in the physical without there being any energy leaks or any draining or any, like, because my friend actually said to me, she's like, the guy that she's been seeing recently, it's like since they've been engaging in the physical, the guy said that like he's a musician and he plays a lot and stuff, and he said to her that he's felt like he hasn't been able to play and he's not really felt that creative and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I think this is why, because she has sort of pulled that part away from him. She's become his creative self, when that shouldn't happen. In my opinion, that shouldn't happen. You should still, the person themselves should still be able to express both of their energies and engage with the counterpart in the physical. If it's a 5D connection and an embodied connection, then connecting with them shouldn't take something from you. And in fact, if anything, should fuel you to be more creative and fuel you to do more and give more, rather than taking something from each other. So yeah, and also in relation to a conversation that I had with her, I wanted to share with you guys that I think sometimes we can try to do too much at once, and it's actually not helpful. Like, she's sort of feeling on the one and the one half that she's like, I feel like if I disconnect from the sky, that I'm running away from the mirror and I'm running away from doing the work. But then on the other hand, she's like, I feel like I need that time to myself to heal this dynamic and come into inner unity and stuff. And this is what I want to say. I think there's, like, people can be running away from the external mirror and they can just keep themselves on their own forever because it's easier than confronting not a difficult relationship, but it's easier than confronting what is going to make them grow. However, I do think there's a time and a place for this, because I feel like there is a time when you do need to give yourself the time and the space to heal yourself so that you are equipped to be able to handle the external connection. Like, there's been the odd sort of physical connection or that over the last few years for me, but for the most part, I haven't been in a relationship. I've been on my own and I've been healing this split within myself. And I think that's really important, to take the time to do that and to not guilt yourself about, oh, I'm running away from the mirror and running away from doing the work because I'm taking time for myself. No. I think it's actually more productive doing this rather than trying to do both things at the same time. Like, heal yourself and come into that unity within yourself. And then when you sort of reach a plateau in that area and you feel like you can't grow anymore on your own, then invite the external mirror in to sort of do the further work with. Like, I don't think for a certain time, I don't think it's running away from the mirror by taking time for yourself, because I feel like when you're trying to do both at the same time, you're not actually getting anywhere. It's actually more detrimental than helpful, because you're having this toxic dynamic or this like imbalance inside the self and also having an imbalance outside of the self, and you're trying to deal with both at the same time and not really getting anywhere. So I feel like you need to sort of, it's okay, like, give yourself permission to not connect with anything in the external for a time, for a few months, a few years, however long it takes for you to come into that balance within yourself so that you can attract another that is whole to start with, and then so that you have the tools and are more equipped to handle that external dynamic and be able to navigate it without also trying to navigate the imbalance in yourself at the same time. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think we can like guilt ourselves into this, and like I said, it's like some people are in that sort of procrastination place and they're avoiding that external connection because they want to avoid the discomfort of it. But I also think there's a time where it's necessary to avoid the external in order to heal yourself and in order to come into that state of being that is required to then be able to handle and navigate the external situation, actually for it to be beneficial for both of you to grow rather than having to compromise yourself, or rather than it sort of adding to the internal problems that you're already experiencing. Like, it's like, deal with one first and then for further growth connect with something in the external. You know, like, that's kind of how I'm feeling now. I feel like for the last like 5-6 years I've been relatively alone and really doing that inner work and coming back to my body and coming back to that integrated state within myself. And now I feel like I've sort of reached somewhat of a plateau in that, where I can't really grow much more without having an external mirror. So I think that is the time when you sort of invite in the external and sort of do the work with that mirror. But yeah, my friend's just like sort of guilting herself and shaming herself about taking time for herself. She's like, oh well, I feel like I'm running away from doing the work, I'm running away from the mirror. And I'm like, no, you're putting that on the back burner for a minute to get yourself right, so that you can then grow from that external mirror experience, you know. So yeah, if you like what I've got to say, please like and subscribe, click the little bell for notifications, and I will chat to you again soon.